From MUTV and the Marquette Wire, this is the 2023 MUSG Presidential Debate.
Good evening, I'm TJ Dysart. Welcome to the 2023 Marquette University Student Government Presidential and Executive Vice Presidential Debate, live on Marquette University Television. The MUSG elections for this upcoming year will be held this Tuesday, March 2nd, and tonight we have both sets of candidates in our studio. The President and Executive Vice President elected will serve as the official representative leaders of MUSG and represent the student voice of Marquette University to the Board of Trustees. On one ticket are juniors Abby Moravec and Tommy Tracy, who is running for MUSG President, currently serves as the Student Government's Programs Vice President and has been involved with the organization the past 2 years. Her running mate for Executive Vice President Tracy currently serves as the chair of the Marquette College Democrats. On the other ticket is juniors Chris Golden and Shirlene Roberts. Golden, majoring in corporate communication with a minor in entrepreneurship, is running for president, and his running mate Roberts is double majoring in political science and international affairs with a minor in peace studies. The two candidates also represent the second all-black ticket running for the positions in the student government's history. The 60-minute debate will begin in just a moment. For now, we will go now to our moderator for tonight's debate, Nancy Flaherty, who's currently in Studio 7 with the candidates and a live student audience. Nancy.
Thank you, TJ. Hello and welcome to the Marquette University Student Government President and Executive Vice Presidential Debate. My name is Nancy Flaherty, and we look forward to providing a comprehensive debate featuring the two executive tickets running to be your next MUSG President and Executive Vice President. We hope tonight is a valuable experience and would like to remind all students to participate in the elections on Tuesday, March 2nd. Before we hear from our candidates, we will read the debate rules, which were agreed on by all candidates prior to the start of today's debate. Each ticket will have a maximum of 2 minutes to deliver an opening statement, along with 2 minutes to deliver a closing statement as well. One candidate per ticket will be chosen to give the opening statement and one to give the closing statement. The same candidate may give both statements if the campaign so chooses. Speaking order for the opening and closing statements was determined prior to the start of the debate by flipping a coin. For today's debate, the speaking order for opening statements will be Christian Golden and Shirlene Roberts, and the speaking orders for closing statements will be Abby Moravec and Tommy Tracy. The speaking order will rotate for each question. I will announce the ticket that will speak before asking each question. Candidates will receive a 10-second warning during their 2-minute answering periods. The bell will chime once and twice if they go over their time limit. Any candidate who goes over their time limit will receive a warning. Upon receiving a third warning, the candidate will be removed from the debate. I ask that anyone present in the debate room today hold their applause until the end of the debate. It is expected that everyone present today will remain civil towards all debate participants. I will now announce the candidates for President and Executive Vice President. First, we have Christian Golden and Shirlene Roberts. Then, we have Abby Moravec and Tommy Tracy. We'll begin our question and answer period shortly, but first we'll take opening statements from the candidates. Starting first with Christian Golden and Shirlene Roberts. You have 2 minutes to deliver your opening statement.
Dear Marquette community, it is with great honor we stand before you today to discuss some of the most pressing issues facing our campus: food insecurity, the need for more social events, more inclusive spaces for all organizations and programs, and adding students to the hiring process, campus security, the need to support our LGBT community. As we all know, this will take long hours and a huge time commitment, and we're ready to start this process with you all. We have to build a community that is truly inclusive, equitable, and fair. This requires more than just food and space. It requires a commitment to safety and security for all members of the community. That's why we're proposing that students be a part of the hiring process. For an example, campus security. We immediately implement a buddy system and that the students should be a part of the hiring process. It is essential that we engage the entire community, such as the LGBTQ community, in these decisions to bring students to the table for conversation. We are committed to making this a priority by inviting administration to similar events as I did last semester. Ultimately, building a just, compassionate society requires all of us to work together. It requires open dialogue, active engagement, and a willingness to listen and learn from one another. So I urge you all to join me in this journey towards creating a more inclusive, equitable, and fair community for all. And lastly, we would like to humbly ask for your support in this upcoming election for president and vice president's position for Marquette University student government. My running mate, Roberts, and I are committed to working tirelessly to make this university a better place for students, faculty, and staff. We believe that our unique experience, vision, blend, and passion will help us achieve our goals. So I encourage you all to vote Golden and Roberts as your next president in for Marquette University. Together, we will create a brighter future for all. Thank you.
Thank you. On to Abby Moravec and Tommy Tracy's opening statement.
Thank you, Nancy. And thank you so much to everyone who's tuning in today. All the support me and Abby have received for this campaign has really meant the world to us. We focus on three things: social justice, health and wellness, and sustainability. For social justice, we want to amplify student voices and raise up our campus's organizations. For health and wellness, we want to promote mental health resources, aid in sexual health, and provide a greater access to menstrual products. For sustainability, we want to create a new committee and host a variety of green events. Together, we have the necessary leadership to rebuild MUSG. As an organization, it has traditionally championed very progressive values, and we want to continue this proud tradition. By fighting against period poverty and making campus a greener place, we can create a lot of beneficial access and necessary things for campus and for students. Last fall, when Abby told me that she was going to run for president of MUSG, I knew that she was beyond qualified. As programs VP, she has connected with countless students and clubs and continued to amplify voices. The last few months, she has manned a skeleton crew, but during an incredibly difficult and hectic situation, but she has risen above it and executed flawlessly. I was truly honored that she would think of me as her running mate, and although I have not had any formal positions within MUSG, as chair of College Democrats and an officer with Sigma Iota Rho, the International Affairs Honors Society, I've become very familiar with it and MU admin's functions. I'm very proud of the work I did in these roles. This includes the protest against the Dobbs decision, which was one of the largest demonstrations in Marquette history. Everything me and Abby have accomplished during our Marquette careers has been to support and better our community. We have a vision for this campus, and we know how to execute it. All that's left is that we ask for you to vote for us on March 2nd, and together we can help create a better campus.
All right, on to the question and answer period. First question. Both tickets present ideas and goals for their potential administration. But on top of this, they must oversee an entire student government while maintaining positive relations with the university's administration. What has prepared you for this managerial role, and how do you plan to maintain a positive organizational environment? We'll start with Abby and Tommy.
So the past, as Tommy had said, I've been working with student government in the programs department, but this past year I've worked with the executive board. Because there were a few of us working on it, we had to take on responsibilities that we wouldn't normally do, and that gave me a lot of opportunity to work with administration. I was able to speak with the Board of Trustees the other week, and we were able to give our thoughts on how MUSG could be supported and how we could support the student body. Another thing is that we were able to work with organizations across campus and see what they wanted from the administration. They were able to give us their frustrations about what they wanted to see on campus and what they wanted us to do to change it. And even though my role doesn't usually work with administration, I was able to have those opportunities to grow.
Yeah, and then additionally, among my other roles, I am a National Director for College Democrats of America, which means I personally preside over 48 state federations and over 2,500 chapters. So I have a lot of experience with consensus building and advocating for groups that I may not personally subscribe to, but I still want to advocate and be a person that supports these different groups. So I want to continue to bring that energy to the Marquette administration and continue to help improve campus.
All right, on to Golden and Roberts.
Before running for MUSG, I was also the president of Urban Scholars. So it's been in my bag to work with the administration quite heavily. I was also a comm ambassador. So if you all were in attendance for the Soul Food Night, of another student, Johnny Brooker, and I were able to put that together for the College of Comm. So it's always been my mission to work with staff and administration for the betterment of the community as a whole.
To add on to that, this school year I have lunches with the president level to come up with ideas on things that students need to make Marquette a better place for all. We continue to sit at the table to bring those resources to Marquette and just doing what we have to do.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
On to the second question. Diversity and inclusion remain a guiding principle on campaign platforms. How can you ensure accountability in the sectors of gender, sexuality, and race in your hiring processes and student government as a whole? Goldman Roberts, we'll start with you.
For starters, I feel like bringing everybody to the table is the first step. How can we get the students involved? How can we get students from diverse backgrounds involved? So with my administration, hopefully, I would like to pull everybody from the community. A lot of people ask me, hey, like, what's your vision? But I reply with that, what's your vision? Because as a president, I want to know how I can support you. I want to know the things that you want to do. Because although I have this position, treat people how they want to be treated, not treat you how you want to be treated. So with that being said, I want to include everybody in my campaign, in my presidency, and use their voices to just act as like a common theme for all.
To add on to that, while me and Christian was preparing for this, we always said that we wanted to include students in the hiring process for Marquette because we hire all these people and they always impact the student in some type, shape, or form, and students don't know who is actually being hired for these positions. So adding students to the table for this specific reason will help bridge the gap between faculty and students.
I'll ask you an additional follow-up on that question. Within that hiring process, how would you make sure to engage each of those kind of communities within racial guidelines, sexuality, and gender as well, specifically?
Me personally, I would say that we would have a team of students, not the same students for each hiring process, but a diverse board of students that can sit up and advocate for each different group on campus or each different community here on campus. So the LGBT community, the BSU, any community here on campus that needs that support for advocacy.
Thank you. You're welcome. Laura, Vic, and Tracy?
Yeah, so it's very important that we are, constantly promoting a better world and a better campus. We have 3 ways that we really want to kind of address this issue. The first and the most important is recognizing our limitations. We are 2 white individuals. We recognize the privileges inherent with that. So the most important way that we want to overcome that is by hosting more regular MUSG town halls. This way we can bring student voices to us and go to them and address the issues that they're seeing. The second is to also promote diversity in our hiring process. We plan on doing that by partnering with already established campus leaderships, that could be GSA, for example, to help address and hire some diverse voices from that organization. They're already campus leaders, and we want to bring that energy to MUSG. And then the last way is to make sure we're fully funding our committees, the DESJ and the Community Engagement Committee. They do excellent work, and we want to make sure they continue to have the resources so they can continue with that work.
So within MUSG, as long as I've been there, I've seen that we have had a great background of students with it's a very diverse background of people in leadership spots, and they're taking on the roles of committee leads and even on the executive board. And so I've really been able to see how we're able to bring in student voices from many different backgrounds, organizations, and how that's able to impact some of the policies and legislation that has gone through. But yeah.
They got a heads up on the follow-up, so they did answer the follow-up. All right, on to the third question. Students who aren't directly affiliated with MUSG or aware of its purpose in student representation may not be able to recognize the impact of a ticket's administration. What will you do to communicate with a larger campus and hold yourselves accountable to the students you represent? Moravec and Tracy, we'll start with you.
Sorry, would you be able to repeat the question one more time?
Yes. You got to give some background.
Thank you.
Now, what will you do to communicate with the larger campus and hold yourselves accountable to the students you represent, especially in the case of students who maybe aren't familiar with MUSG and their practices, who maybe aren't involved with themselves? How are you going to engage and hold yourselves accountable to those students?
I think that the communications department in MUSG is a really big way to do that. We're able to get marketing through to so many students, but I think that we need to expand how many students we are getting that out to. It is important that we spread the word through organizations. We bring students in with engaging programs and activities that we're doing that can help them learn about what our mission is and what we want to do in the future with our students and how we want to engage them in the decisions that we're making. But yeah.
Yeah, I just want to double down. It's important that we meet the students where they're at, and that's definitely Instagram and social media. I've talked with some other people on the executive board or in MUSG who's been involved with MUSG, and they agree that the comms department is definitely a place where we can expand and make sure that we're really elevating student organizations' voices. So like different clubs and their events, like let's promote it on the MUSG's Instagram. Different events that we're hosting as MUSG, let's promote that too. It's something that we can expand upon and make a lot better.
Thank you. Golden Roberts?
For sure. So it is our vision to be present in the community. For an example, open door policy, having specific hours where we're located in the AMU, where the students can come ask us questions and give us their input. Also, it is our vision to have more networking events, more social events on campus, and more community service here on campus that also provides the opportunity for us to engage with the conversation, to actually to demonstrate our goals and to demonstrate what MUSG stands for.
Over this past school year, I had the opportunity to serve as the chair for the Communications of Justice and Action Conference. And although social media is one way to get to students, it's much more than that. It's more than going out. You have to create events and spaces where students can come and everyone can feel like they belong. So I feel like we need to try to normalize that everyone belongs in this space and we can all enjoy and hang out.
Thank you. On to the next question. Students' mental health remains a critical issue on campus. What steps does your ticket plan to take in order to increase mental health accessibility on campus? Golden Roberts?
Going back to more events on campus, I would love to do a weekly mental health Thursday. So where can we come together and create this safe environment for students to come and actively talk about what's on their minds, to have that dialogue with other students to get them through this? Because if you think about it, we're all in college together. We're facing similar issues. Let's create that space together where we're comfortable. Let's normalize that, coming together and tackling these problems together. And I feel like that's the whole goal of our presidency, is community, that togetherness. So let's be the difference, and let's host weekly events for students to have those topics and conversations and express that dialogue.
Also, I had a meeting with President Lovell about this conversation a few days ago, and he urged me to start going to department chairs of different majors and letting them know that we do need that time, because certain majors do let you take more time off or a little more leniency than other majors. So maybe just starting a conversation there with those faculty.
Thank you. Morvik and Tracy.
So when we were putting together our platform, mental health was one of the biggest things that we wanted, mental health services was one of the biggest things that we wanted to work on. As a psych major, I've been able to learn about mental health and the resources that we have on campus. We do have the counseling center, but I feel like it can be improved upon to make it a less taboo subject. Because next year, so the new rec center is opening up, there's going to be more access to these resources, but we need to bridge the gap in between now and then. It's going to be after we graduate, so it's a really long time that we're not going to have as many as we need. So one big thing that I really want to do is implement more programs from mindfulness and meditation. That really helps students, and I feel like they're not as accessed and not as promoted as they should be. So I think that's one big thing that we want to push out. And then also new programs when orientation, when freshman students come in. So making them aware of the signs and symptoms of mental health, especially with their close friends, roommates, and how to not deal with it, but how to help them and how to report if they see it's getting worse and worse. Just giving them those resources to know what to do when they're in those situations. But yeah.
Yeah, just to kind of add on a little bit, we want to recognize the importance of taking an intersectional approach to this topic. As a queer student, I face a lot of anti-queer sentiments, whether it's from some of my classmates or just people around campus. So we want to make sure that our mental health resources address these differing issues so that everyone feels they have something that's going to be of benefit to them.
Thank you. Now we're going to ask 2 individual questions for each ticket. So we'll start with Morvik and Tracy. I will ask a question specific to your campaign. And then Golden Roberts, I will ask a question specific to your campaign. We'll start with Morvik and Tracy. In your campaign platform, you outlined a goal to provide free menstrual products on campus. How do you plan on funding this initiative?
So I think one of the big things, starting with, is meeting with the budget committee in MUSG itself, and also talking to upper administration to provide more funds. Because we do, MUSG does get a lot of its money from student activity fees, and the students are providing that money for them to use. So in order to give it back out to students, that's something that we find important. But yeah, and working with, there's organizations that will help provide funding outside of campus or even just the materials in general in order to make it accessible to all students on campus.
And then I would also like to point out that this has been like a goal of mine for a long time. And I have, student friends that I've talked to about this before. And one of them just the other day actually flagged a resource for me where all we have to pay for as like MUSG is the setting up of proper dispensers. It's from an organization called like GoFlow, and then after that they will provide free materials for like a few years or like a couple years or something like that. So reaching out to that organization is day one priority for us as an administration, and we really look forward to being able to do that work and fighting against period poverty.
Thank you. All right, on to Golden Roberts. Both of you boast impressive experiences in everything from government internships to fellowships in business and research, respectively. How do you plan to work with MUSG in administration without prior experience in student government?
Definitely. My previous experiences gave me the resources that I need to take on this task for sure. So as mentioned before, I was the president of Urban Scholars. So there I had an executive board as well. I work with a team of students who help organize events. I'm also a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. So there I am the exchequer. So I also work with the e-board there as well. So although I don't have MUSG experience, I definitely have the tools and resources to fulfill the job.
As far as me, I have never worked with MUSG, but that doesn't mean that I'm not capable. I am served as the third-year representative for the honors program, and I am a Berk Scholar. So dealing with people and talking to people to get things done is something I do on an everyday basis. I still deal heavily with administration now, and I'm not a part of MUSG to get things done here on campus.
Thank you. All right, back to questions for both of you. We'll go back to Golden Roberts. With the new business building finished construction already, and President Level outlining several new projects in the next few years, Marquette building accessibility has been called into question. What steps will you take to ensure that buildings on campus are accessible to the entire Marquette community?
Definitely. Communication is key. It is essential that we notify our students that, hey, although you're a college of comms student, you can still use the business building. You're a Marquette student. You should be able to go into these other buildings and study there, go to the brew, grab some coffee. So the communication is key. While other buildings are getting worked on, for instance, the nursing building is getting worked on right now, we can open up other spaces on campus for different departments and different students as well.
And that goes back to my entire point of normalizing spaces for everyone. So if we have spaces, the business school is open right now. You can go in until a certain time. I believe it's 5 p.m. We should normalize that space is available for everyone. And once we do that, then everyone can go everywhere and feel just as comfortable.
I'll ask a follow-up on that, pointing it more directly towards the disabled community.
Okay.
One of the questions with accessibility, along with ensuring that all majors are able to access all buildings at any time of day that works for them, do you have any answers, specifically wheelchair users or those who find difficulty accessing certain buildings on campus? And how do you think you would kind of incorporate that and talk about that with the disabled community in conjunction with university administration?
With that being said, I would ask for Marquette administration to make our new buildings more accessible for the disabled. For instance, building ramps or making it level ground so that it'll be easier for students with disability to access these buildings now that they're being freshly renovated. So it's just all about using our voices to communicate and be that advocate for all of those students as well.
I agree.
Perfect. Thank you, Golden Roberts. Moravik and Tracy?
Yeah, so, I've learned a lot about disability advocacy from a good friend of mine. But it's important to this college campus, I feel like, because, there are people, everyday accidents happen where you could be wheelchair bound because you broke your leg. I work in Mashuda, I'm a part of the staff there, and, that happened to a student of ours. And, when we don't have resources accessible because we have to close things down because we don't have the proper staff, that impacts people. He had to wheelchair himself all the way back just for the mailroom to be closed. That sucks. But it's also important that we recognize more than just equality of opportunity, letting them into the buildings. We want to recognize equality of enjoyment too and make sure that all of our events are accessible to these people. So when we host MUSG events, when our programs department hosts events, we want to make sure that they can access them, but also be there, be able to enjoy the resources we're providing, and have a good time with the rest of the student body.
Yeah, so I know that in the past few years, MUSG has worked with administration to improve some buildings on campus to make them ADA accessible, but I think that we need to continue to do that. I think they only did a few of the buildings, but to keep doing it and make it more up to date, especially as we're learning more and what people need for like accommodations. I think that we need to update it as time goes on and meet with administration regularly about that topic. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, now you guys have both had some time to kind of analyze each other's platforms as well as opposing candidates. What do you feel is missing in the opposing tickets platform, and how does your campaign fill that gap? Moravik and Tracy, we'll start with you.
So personally, as like we've gone through our platform and we've heard their platform, I think that something that's really important to address is being transparent with the student organizations that you're working with, or just working and engaging student organizations in general. That's something that's really important with us. Students on campus all have the equal opportunity to get their missions across and to promote themselves. And I think that being transparent with them about either financial, programming, all the other needs that they need in order to do their events or like bring out their missions is really important. Sorry. But yeah, that's something that I know that we are really striving to work on.
Yeah, the SOF process is definitely the most controversial part of this job. You have to know when to say yes and when to say no to people's proposals. And I know currently the process is a little bit bogged down just due to some staffing issues and stuff like that. So being able to really address these issues is something that, clubs and their vitality are going to depend on for the next few months into the next year. And we need to make sure that this process is running as smooth as possible and people get access to the resources they need.
Thank you. Golden Roberts?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. What do you feel is missing in the opposing tickets platform, and how does your campaign fill that gap?
I don't feel like it's missing, but I do want to comment on they're already a part of MUSG, and they have things in their campaign that they could be working on now that they haven't really started the initiative on. So far as us, we have began, we want to create more spaces for events, and Christian has created a couple events here on campus to get the ball rolling on that idea so we can create that more just environment for our community.
Yeah, to add on that, our motto here is to be the difference. And one vision that I see about being a difference is bringing that mindset of diverse talent and mindsets. With that being said, I feel like if you already have a position in MUSG, you've been around for a while, I feel like you need to hear voices from like the students who are like not in these positions, if you will. So that's how you like offer a diverse background by just giving people a chance, because you'll be missing so many voices if we only like held these positions to people like that were already in MUSG. There's so many voices, so many ideas that could be brought to the table.
Thank you. All right. If you had $100,000 to do anything you see fit for Marquette University and its students, where would you allocate the money? I feel comfortable asking this question because it seems like both tickets are familiar with budgets and working in those types of organizations. So $100,000, what would you do? We'll start with Golden Roberts.
The first thing I would do, I would love to offer 20 meal swipes for all commuter students. Food is something that brings people together, and that was my whole vision of doing that soul food Thanksgiving thing here in the College of Com. It was a wonderful turnout. So food brings people together. If you look back to like your freshman year, sophomore year, when you stayed in dorms, like that was the most like fun you ever had, and that's the time you get to engage with the students on campus. So going back to that thing of togetherness that our like presidency is talking about. So offering commuter students 20 meal swipes for the semester so that they can be a part of the community that they rarely don't see in class. They can have lunch with them and catch up with different students that they normally wouldn't see outside their class.
All right, Moravik, Tracy, $100,000.
So kind of how we were talking about before, student health is something that we really find important to fund on campus. Again, so as a Jesuit university, I feel like we do not see a lot of resources being allocated towards our students for certain situations. First of all, mental health programs, as we talked about before, that's a really big thing that I want to implement if I had that budget for it. And another thing that I want to do is boosting women's health and just student health in general, those resources for students. As we said before, like providing feminine products in public restrooms. And also a big thing would be providing more resources for women's reproductive health. Maybe in the med clinic, implementing people like workers with different backgrounds in reproductive health to talk to students about effective birth control methods, being able to provide contraceptives for students, and just giving those resources to them and being able to fully fund it to bring it out to students. But yeah.
Yeah, and then I think it's also really important that, day one we're funding our two big committees, the Community Engagement Committee and the DESJ Committee. And then we fund our proposed third committee, which would be the Sustainability Committee. We want to have that one tackle a lot of different issues, but I think the most pressing one that they could tackle on day one is our food recovery program. So taking dining hall food waste that should not be food waste and transferring it to help food insecure students on campus.
Thank you. The deep sense of community within Marquette and sense of separation from the larger Milwaukee community is often referred to as the Marquette bubble. What steps would you take to increase engagement at Marquette University within the greater Milwaukee area? Morvik and Tracy?
So something that we really want to highlight in our platform is that we want to work with community service groups and those organizations in order to give them more resources to help the Milwaukee community. So some of these organizations is Engage Milwaukee, Midnight Run, those are just a few of them, but just giving them more of a budget to do what they want to do with it and be able to promote their events more. They want to be able to spread their mission to not just the Marquette community, but outside of it. And being able to engage more with the Milwaukee community is extremely important to me. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that when we send these groups out, we make sure they're doing so with no sort of savior complex or something like that. We want to make sure these intentions are good. We're helping the communities, but we are realistic about our goals here. So that means partnering with some different resources, maybe bringing in some guest speakers to talk about this issue. But I know that even some of our faculty here are advocates for this issue. I think it's Dr. Sergio Gonzalez. He taught me all about it in one of the classes I took with him. So making sure there's access to those resources can be really good to helping these clubs improve their mission and continue to fulfill it.
Thank you. Golden Roberts?
As a Burke Scholar, we see ourselves serving the Milwaukee community a lot. We are advised to always go outside of the Marquette bubble, which we are strained to a lot of the times. But that's just creating partnerships from your freshman year to your senior year of serving 10 hours a week with this organization or this community within that capacity. I think we need to spread that same energy with the rest of campus so everyone knows that it's more to Milwaukee than the Marquette bubble or what you see from 19th, from 21st in Wisconsin down to 8th in Wisconsin. But we have to normalize that within our prospects.
To add to that, I know Marquette offers a Marquette day of service. How can we do that more than just one day? So just getting our community active with the community of the greater Milwaukee area. And with me being born and raised in Milwaukee, I have a lot of connections to the Milwaukee community. So how can I bring those connections and those partnerships to our campus? For sure.
Thank you. Now we'll have a few more additional questions, then we'll move on to the audience questions segment of the debate. But until then, what do you feel is Marquette University student government's greatest shortcoming over the past year, and how do you plan to mitigate this issue? Golden Roberts?
For starters, I believe that the short gate of MUSG is just being short of staff currently with the past elections. So we can delegate that by just offering our services, bringing in a new e-board, bringing in more students and getting more involved. So one, just getting our foots in the door and opening those doors up for the rest of the students to participate.
And to go off of a question that you had asked earlier about Marquette student government, how are we going to spread it to the larger population of Marquette? So starting there, that's one of the things that MUSG struggles with. Not a lot of people understands the importance of advocating and using your voice and how to get involved.
Thank you. Morvik and Tracy?
I think one big shortcoming of MUSG this past year has been transparency with students. There was a big rebuild of the executive board and having to just kind of jump over hurdles and do things we didn't normally do. But I think that increasing the transparency with students of how our finances work, where we get our money from, where it's getting put towards, what our budgets are, I think that that's extremely important to know what kind of resources that they have and how we can allocate them and how we can help them moving forward in the future.
Yeah, and I think just like sitting down with them, telling them how the process works, walking them through how to do it, like creating some help sessions for this process could be really beneficial. I've put in a lot of applications as the chair of College Democrats and as an officer in other clubs. And I mean, the process, it's just tedious, it's annoying, and just being there, as someone who would man the SOF process, being the person to sit down and help them through it, I think could be of great benefit.
Thank you. All right. Marquette University's administration has increased diversity and inclusion efforts on campus. Where do you believe these efforts have fallen short or succeeded? Morvik and Tracy?
Yeah, I think Marquette's definitely moving in the right direction. They're trying a lot of new things, but at the same time, we're sitting here and, Marquette administration is, claiming we're a Hispanic serving institution, and that's just something that I don't feel like we are. A lot of people that I know have talked about the issues that Marquette has created for them. And then on top of that, we have so many international students, and they are not served properly. A lot of the time, I have certain friends that are from different countries, and they don't feel like they have a home here at Marquette. They come here for school, and then every time they get an opportunity, they try and go home or they try and leave. And I just don't feel like we've done enough to try and fight for these students. So I want to make sure that we're holding town halls. I want to make sure we're going out to these students, meeting them where they're at, hearing their issues, and taking these issues to the admin and making sure that we're solving them as soon as possible.
Yeah, and another big thing that we had talked about with including all students was possible LLCs being implemented into some dorms. I know that we do have resource centers for all different groups of students, but I think that promoting them so that students know that they can go there and feel welcome there is really important, and even having a living space for them would be able to let them bond over how they feel at Marquette and how they can work towards what they want to see. But yeah.
Golden Roberts.
Marquette University has been working vigorously to hire new staff, but I think the shortcomings come from the lack of staff being out there or just the time commitment. So I would ask that students be a part of the hiring process. And the reason why I say this is because we are the ones that the faculty will be working hand in hand with. So we can help the university out with the hiring process, because I know that can be very difficult. We can help the staff out with the hiring process and just get to know staff and put our input in that for sure to help carry the load of the faculty now.
Excellent. Thank you both so much. Now, this concludes the question and answer portion of the debate. We will now move into the audience question portion of the debate. Before asking your questions to the candidates, we all ask that audience participants please state their name before they ask. All right, we'll give everyone a moment if they want to get in line. We'll let everyone take their time. They'll get there. Please state your name.
Hi, I'm Thomas McDonald. As a representative of the student population here on campus, I think pushing Marquette to be a trailblazer and combating climate change and being the difference nationwide in college campuses. What ideas or initiatives would you implement to help Marquette become an even greener campus? Thank you.
All right, we'll actually start off with Golden and Roberts.
For starters, I would love for us to be advocates and participators of Earth Month. How can we implement that into our normalize that? Also, once again, let's create an event once a month where we can do Let's Go Green. So that could be a community service thing. This is our community. We can go out and clean, pick up trash like Wisconsin or Wales and recycling that trash. So just making it normal and just being really active in the community, not just in a political standpoint, but in a physical standpoint with community service.
All right, on to Morvik and Tracy.
Yeah, Marquette is doing a number of things right now to try and greenify campus. We have the Marquette Green, different sustainability commissions. They do a lot, but it's important that we as MUSG continue to advocate for this because they have outlined goals for 2025, and we are not currently on track to hit those goals. Well, all of those goals, some of them we will. But it's important to make sure that we're making all of our buildings energy efficient. So, there's a new proposal to outline the campus growth for the next through 2030. So we want to make sure that we have, advocates for the environment at that town hall that Marquette Admin is hosting. We also, want to create the new committee, and I think it can do a lot of really good events. We've already talked about the food recovery initiative, but another one would be, setting up different like green events. So 2 that we've brainstormed already is like one would be like a hazardous waste disposal. So lots of students get sick, like happens to everyone, but if they have any like pills left over, it's important that we're disposing of those properly and not just throwing them down the sink or flushing them down the toilet. That's like really bad for our water supply. So those are just like a few ways that we can do it, but we do want to create this committee so that they can brainstorm their own ideas and, expand upon, our green capabilities here at Marquette.
Really quick to add, another thing that Marquette students have been wanting to see is a community garden. Actually, the other day, one of my friends went to the career fair and talked to a company that they will find plots of land that you can do community gardens on that are available for you, like no pay, like you're able to do that. So I think putting one near campus and also near the Milwaukee community would be something that's really important. It'll give students something to do outside of class, like if they just want to find something relaxing and something separate, that's important, and it'll also help food insecurity on campus and the Milwaukee area around.
Thank you. All right, thank you both for answering that question about campus sustainability. Please state your name and speak close to the mic.
Hi, I'm Nico Dimitriou. Both camps have touched a little bit about including more people in shared spaces and kind of normalizing those shared spaces. How specifically, whether through events you would hold or through communications you would send out to students and student orgs, would you make those spaces more inclusive and normalize usage of those different spaces?
All right, looking for specific action steps. Moravik and Tracy?
Something that, as we had said before, outreaching to each of these spaces and collaborating with them is something that we would find important, either through specific events to help promote those spaces on campus so students know that they're available and so they feel welcome there. Specifically in the MUSG office, it is a space for everybody. Everybody's welcome to come in there and study and just hang out and learn more about what MUSG does. So I think that also holding events within the office and pushing that out to the student body would bring more of an awareness and a light to what MUSG does.
Yeah, and then we hit on this already, but I kind of want to reiterate it. We want to start like specifically 2 LLCs, one for LGBTQ students and then another one for AAPI students. We think it's really important. I mean, there's one for our African American students and there's one for our Hispanic students, but we want to expand this opportunity to a bunch of people because it has like the benefits from those 2 LLCs have been shown. So I think it's really important that we start those, get the ball rolling, and hopefully, the next incoming class of freshmen will be able to benefit from that program.
Thank you. Golden Roberts?
For us, I think we would start by beginning to reach out to different organizations and also going where the students are to advertise and market about different events that are on campus so everyone can be included, not so much of just doing what is already normalized, because we see now that a lot of students feel like, oh, I didn't know about it, I don't know how to find out more information about it, and it's kind of really difficult to find things out about Marquette at times. So we would go to meet the students where they are and to figure out how we can tell you and where are you at.
Thank you both. All right, any additional audience questions? Please state your name and speak close to the mic.
Yes, my name is Hope Moses, and I'm a first-generation college student, and I think the university, there's programs for first-generation college students, there's scholarships, but I do think there could be more. So my question was, do you guys have any plans to address the needs of first-generation college students on campus? And if so, what would those plans be?
Thank you. Starting with Golden Roberts.
Yeah, for sure. So with that being said, a lot of the programs on campus that help first-generation college students, Urban Scholars being one, EOP, Opus Scholars, and Burke as well. So with that being said, attesting to Urban Scholars, our student to faculty ratio right now is about 100 students to 1 faculty member. So just once again advocating for more support there. Also, we want more spaces for these organizations, because with Urban Scholars accepting 45 more students a year, we're gonna reach capacity where we're at right now in Coughlin. So getting faculty, getting the space for them, and then also having the common space for all organizations, for all scholarship programs, to coming together and have a shared support group, because we know that each org has their own networking faculty, but how can we combine that? So that's our mission, is creating space, providing opportunity, and getting more staff members for each org.
Thank you. Moravik and Tracy?
So I myself am a first-generation college student. My sister did also come to Marquette, but neither of my parents did go to college. So she was kind of a source for me. But I know that some of my other friends that were also first-generation had a hard time figuring out classes, like very basic things, like figuring out how to class schedules, tuition, loans. So I think that having a support staff at Marquette is extremely important to teach them how to go through those processes, because I know sometimes it can be confusing to do FAFSAs and loans and all those things that you need to do in order to go to Marquette and to college. So I think just having staff or faculty that would be able to provide resources, or even other students that have gone through before and have known how hard it is to kind of get into the groove of it, is really important for other students and to show support.
Yeah, and I just Chris made a great point. Some of these student to faculty ratios are absolutely atrocious, and our administration is also going to make making sure that our students are supported by faculty a priority.
Thank you. Next audience question, please. State your name and speak close to the mic.
Greetings, my name is Johnny Brooker, and my question is this. So the number one topic across school campuses across this country is school safety. The recent events that happened at Michigan State, the school shooting, that tragic event, what would you say to students who feel unsafe on Marquette's campus?
Moravec and Tracy?
So we had talked about before working with the safety task force to improve students' feelings of safety on campus. I know that MUPD is doing a lot to improve safety on campus, but again, we're in a city, crime is going to happen. Recently there has been a lot going on, and you can see it across the country. So I think just letting students know that we are actively working and listening to their voices to make decisions with MUPD is extremely, their voices are valuable to hear, and just to work with them, just so that they can get an outcome that they want to see. I know that we've implemented a lot of new safety tasks, like the Eagle Express, that's new. It was the limo, but they're just doing newer things, and it's really helping students feel safer, but just taking that one step forward and hearing their voices and doing things according to that.
Yeah, I think that it's really important that we make sure we address the issues of community and rebuilding community too. We know all about issues of over policing in some of the Milwaukee neighborhoods and things like that. So it's really making sure we emphasize an intersectional approach and making sure that everyone still feels safe with our new continuing the work with the safety task force.
Thank you. Golden and Roberts?
Similar to what we did in elementary school, like a code red. So if there was an active shooter on campus, students will turn off the lights, close the doors, hide under a desk. We want to implement those same practice drills in our formula in today's era, because it's been a huge problem that unfortunately we have to deal with. So it is with our presidency, we want to make that situation known, and that we want to practice these things because the issue is still relevant in today's era. Also, it is our goal to implement a buddy system. With many of the emails we've been getting about students being robbed on campus, we think it is essential to put a buddy system in place. So that's when scholars walk with scholars, no one left behind. So just implement that buddy system for sure to decrease the violence on campus.
Before the next audience question, I have a quick follow-up on that question. Let's say something that happened to Michigan State happened on Marquette's campus. MUSG might be expected to release a statement in the aftermath of such. What would you say to Marquette campus community members who might be suffering in the face of an incident such as that? Golden Roberts.
First and foremost, it is essential that we let the community know that we're with them. We apologize for the matter. And then not only that, it's about regaining trust as well. That's definitely a crisis, and we need to do crisis management at that point and handle that situation. So we will say to the community, we won't be hiding any information from them. We will definitely keep them informed of what's going on, and definitely tell them that we have the situation under control now. And just once again, regaining that trust of the community. How can we make them feel safe after this tragedy has happened? And then how can we offer more resources to get through this mental grief state of mind as well? And then also just, once again, just being there actively, being present and offering resources to get through it.
And also letting the community know that the resources that we use as Marquette students is also available for them. We have a lot of elementary schools in the areas and hospitals in the areas, and it's really good that we partner with each other to continue to advocate to make sure those things that, like Michigan State, if it was to happen, we know how to react and we know how to recover.
Thank you. Moravec and Tracy.
Yeah, with my role being on the National Board of Directors for College Democrats, I had the misfortune of meeting with Michigan State about the shooting that they went through and helping plan how they would handle it as a student org and a campus body. And the biggest lesson I learned from that was just to not be quiet about your pain. So like, go ahead, put that statement out, thoughts and prayers or whatever, but get out there too. Make your voices heard, hold a vigil for those people. Don't let their memories be forgotten. So I think that would be our first step, is to make sure that campus comes together and everyone feels the love of their peers.
Thank you. On to the audience question.
Hi, I'm Zach. What would be the first thing you do if you were elected? What would be the first thing you do to improve Marquette?
All right, first day in office, what are you going to do? Moravec and Tracy.
I think that if we were president and vice president, the first day in office would just be to build a community within MUSG. Obviously, outreach is extremely important for the organization. That's what they're all about. But just building a sense of community and familiarity with everybody in the office is extremely important. It builds a trust. It builds an open mind relationship with everybody, that opinions are valid. It's just kind of introducing yourself as a safe space, and just a safe person to come to with any questions or any opinions that they would have.
Yeah, and just kind of continue with that. I mean, there's a lot of rebuilding to do with MUSG this year. So day one priorities are like hiring people, making sure that every position is filled so that we can reach every student possible. It's things like that, because without a proper board, we can't really reach out to students. We can't reach out to our clubs. We can't reach out to organizations. It'll be a lot harder for us to implement programs like starting a new committee. It'll be a lot harder for us to start our fight against period poverty. So we got to get everyone involved, and that means getting the whole board filled, getting all the departments' positions filled. So that's definitely our day one priority there.
Thank you. Golden and Roberts?
For us, I think the first thing would be to see where everyone is at in MUSG as far as plans, goals, and how far along are they there to get there. And then we want to start off by just hosting like a thank you to the Marquette University community for putting us in this position to let their voices be heard. And then with a follow-up question of, what do you need from us as your president and vice, and how can we help you get there?
Yeah, just to add on top of that, once again, hosting a meet and greet where the students are able to come meet us, talk to us about their concerns, what they have on campus, so we can get those voices directly from the community. And then also we'll invite administration to this as well, and just offer a space to just students can come and talk to us, meet us, and realize that we're familiar faces and that we have an open door policy.
And during this meet and greet as well, it won't be just meeting us, but then peers will be able to meet peers, and faculty will be able to meet more students. So therefore, we are creating the mission of coming together.
Thank you both. All right, we're going to ask one more final question before we kind of conclude the rest of this debate with closing statements. Now, if you had something that you would like to say to a first-year student arriving at Marquette University for the first time to kind of welcome them onto campus, regardless of their background, where they're from, even if it is from a suburb of Chicago, like most campus, what is the first thing you would say to kind of make a first-year student feel welcomed on campus as MUSG President and Executive Vice President? Golden Roberts?
For sure. I will offer the student to come to the AMU or a dining hall just to get familiar with the campus space. I'll also offer them a tour of the space, like, hey, let me see your schedule. Do you need help finding your classrooms? Just to make sure that they know that they have support, not just from faculty, but other students here on campus as well. And then I would just, ask the student, like, if there's anything you ever need, always reach out to me. And here are my direct resources on campus. So to get them a connection, to get them a network on campus for sure.
Yeah, to follow up with Christian on that. And then I will also make sure I stay in contact with that student to make sure, how's your Marquette experience going? Do you need anything from me? Do you need help sending an email to a certain professor? And then I'll make sure to keep doing that and follow up to build that relationship.
Thank you. Moravec and Tracy?
I think when we all were freshmen coming in, we had no idea what we were going to do. I think it was a whole new space for everybody. So I think my big thing would be, it's okay to not know what you're doing and to not be okay. It's a whole new space and it's a whole new atmosphere. I changed my major like halfway through Marquette. Like, it's the thing that you have to be able to be familiar with these students and be able to just kind of be on the same level with them and like remember what it was like when you were a freshman. I remember when I was a freshman, it was COVID. We were all kind of isolated. We lived in Strass, me and Tommy did together, and we kind of based what we knew on each other. We didn't really have a lot of upperclassmen to get to talk to about these things. So I think just being a resource that we never really had would be really important, and to help them guide through the decisions that they're making. Because not every decision has to be final, but like just being able to be a support system to be like, it's fine if you don't know what you're doing yet. But yeah.
Yeah, and as a peer mentor here on campus, like I have these conversations with freshmen, and what I always tell them is like, there is a lot of doors on this campus. Try and explore what's behind every single one of them. That's what my philosophy teacher told me in high school before I came to Marquette. And I think that's the best advice I possibly could have gotten because, you know, I joined so many clubs freshman year, met so many people, made so many new friends, and those connections have stayed with me even now. I love being able to just walk around campus and see the people I know, and be a part of the different communities, the different organizations that I'm a part of.
Thank you both for joining me in that bonus question to kind of seal off all your question and answers and audience questions. We're now going to move into the final portion, which is closing statements. Since Golden and Roberts began the debate with their opening statements, we'll have Moravec and Tracy start the closing statements portion. So you have 2 minutes whenever you're ready to give your closing statement.
Thank you to everyone for listening to the 2023 MUSG Presidential and EVP debate, and thank you to everyone who is supporting us on the live stream as well. So as Tommy said, me and him decided to run together for president and executive vice president last fall. We wanted to work on the rebuilding and reformation of Marquette University student government and the Marquette campus as a whole. We sat down and looked at what needed to be changed on campus, and we saw a variety of issues that could be improved. We reviewed the policies of Marquette and the resources that are available to the community, and as students, we knew that there was a change that had to be made. Personally, I've been a part of MUSG for the past 2 years, programming events for students, and the past year I served on the executive board. I was able to see firsthand the work and effort that my fellow coworkers did to make the organization an open-minded and supportive place for all students, and I feel that if I was able to serve as president and Tommy as vice president, we would be able to work and build from what has already been established and create a greater outreach to the student body. We want to work towards a united campus where all students feel welcomed and comfortable at Marquette. We also feel that it is important to make a great impact on student organizations on campus so that they have the full support and resources that they need to spread their missions. It is important to us to listen to student feedback and opinions in order to improve our campus environment and quality of life for our students. Our campaign statement reads, creating a more just, sustainable, and equitable campus. By working with and for our student body, we can make Marquette a home for all. Our platform is rooted in an intersectional approach to helping all students and our wider community. To us, this means that we want to work to make Marquette a safe, welcoming, and comfortable home for all of our current classmates and future students at Marquette University. We would love to continue to see your support for a united and progressive campus as we continue our campaign and when voting takes place on March 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you. Golden Roberts, your closing statement, 2 minutes.
Dear members of the Marquette University community, as we come to the close of our debate today, I want to thank you for your time and attention as we spoke on some of the issues impacting us. I want to emphasize the importance of coming together as a community to tackle the challenges that we face. In closing, let us remember that our greatest strength lies in our ability to come together as a community. We are faced with many challenges, but we have the power to make a difference. Let us continue to work towards a more inclusive, equitable, and fair society where everyone can thrive. We urge you to support our efforts to address food insecurities, creating more social events, and ensuring that all organizations have access to the resources they need. We will prioritize the safety and security of our community, and we will engage with all members of our community, including the LGBTQ community, in the decision-making process. As we approach the upcoming election for positions of president and vice president of Marquette University, we ask you for your support in making our vision a reality. We believe that we have the experience, vision, and passion to lead this community towards a brighter future. I want to remind you all that our next event will be on February 28th, 2023 in Coughlin Hall from 1 to 3:30 p.m. This will be the beginning of bringing students together on campus to begin living our mission. We need everyone to be involved in this effort, and I hope to see you all there. Let us work together to create a community that is truly inclusive, equitable, and fair. Remember, we all have a role to play in this reality, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you to achieve these goals. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you. I would like to thank everyone for attending today's debate and our candidates for answering these questions and conveying their platforms to the student body. Once again, I will remind all students to vote in the elections on Thursday, March 2nd. At this time, applause for the candidates is welcome. This concludes the Marquette University Student Government President and Executive Vice Presidential Debate.
And you can keep up with the Marquette Wire's coverage of the upcoming MUSG election this Thursday at www.marquettewire.org. Be sure to check out the Marquette Wire's website for more of the latest news on Marquette's campus. As for now, thank you for watching. I'm TJ Dysart. Have a fantastic night, Marquette.